everyone, it's Sabrina. So today I wanted to film a video about how to do well on residency interviews and kind of how to prepare for them, since now I am all done with those. I finished back in January and kind of just been hanging out since then. Started our Nevada Community Service this month. So for this class, we're taking like a online public health class where we have to do like different assignments and things like that, and then we also have to do community service. So Corey and I have been helping out vaccinating people from all over Las Vegas. It's been really cool, really good experience. But yeah, I wanted to just like let you guys know kind of what to expect for residency interviews and how it went. So for me, to prepare, I looked up online like different types of questions that are very commonly asked by residencies, and it's really easy. You just Google common residency interview questions. I'll link down below what the ones that I used, and I took about like 10 to 20 questions. I copied them on a Word document and just like wrote bullet points of kind of what I wanted to respond to them. Like a classic question that they really like to ask everyone, and it's online as well, is tell me about yourself. So being prepared to like talk about yourself and how you want to answer that question is important, because you might hear it multiple times. So different people have different opinions. I started with like my name, where I'm from, kind of where I moved around to, where I went to school, what I studied in undergrad, and like a fun fact about me. And I mentioned Corey most of the time and how we're couples matching, and sometimes I'd randomly mention Hazel too. So I just kept it fun and light. Some people online are like, tell a story, bring in your passions, explain how this fits in with your community service and other. I just felt like that was really complicated, so that was kind of how I went with it. And if they had follow-up questions, they would ask. But I think it was an okay way to approach tell me about yourself. Obviously everyone has different opinions on how they should answer that question. I know it's controversial, but definitely be ready and expect that. Why you became a doctor is less common, I would say, for residency interviews compared to like medical school interviews, because I think they know why you became a doctor, but they want to know like why you picked that specialty specifically, what drew you towards it. So be prepared with like what drew you towards your specialty, when did it first start, did you have like any other specialties in mind, and come up with like a good little story about that and why you were interested in this specialty specifically, why you're applying. Obviously they want to know, if that makes sense. They love to ask questions about your hobbies, so I would definitely recommend writing out your hobbies and ERAS. I think that's really important. And I just wrote them like in bullet points, and I didn't like write an explanation, because I was going to explain during the interview if they had more questions, and most of them did. Like they like to ask about YouTube, they asked about scuba diving, things like that. So I just kind of explained during my interview instead of explaining, I guess, in actual ERAS application, and that's also controversial, so do what you want to do. Everyone does it differently. And then there's just other questions, like where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? That was pretty common. So these are really common questions. They're all online, and they're all good questions to just practice and think about. There's more specific questions that every program is going to ask you. You know, just prepare to the best of your ability for anything and everything. You never know what they're going to ask you. Some of them like to ask you clinical questions. I got a few of those, and that's just kind of on the spot. You can't really prepare for that. Hopefully your knowledge comes through and you remember something, because I was surprised when I got asked those questions too. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't thought about this in a minute. So that was a little bit stressful, but I think I got myself through those. And then there's going to just be more specific questions about your personality, like the kind of person that you are, how you respond to conflict, things like that. They really like those questions. So just practicing like a good response to them. Obviously you don't want to sound rehearsed. It's obvious if you like sound robotic and you've been practicing it. So just try to be yourself during the interview and answer to the best of your ability, and just be conversational, smile, and things like that. I think that's really important. Another tip is that it's really important to stare at the camera. So you guys know that I like to look off a lot of times during my videos, but during my interview I'd actually only stare straight at the camera, because this is how you're making eye contact. I don't know if the interviews are going to be over Zoom again like they were for us, but obviously in real life you're just going to make eye contact with the interviewer during your interview. Through Zoom, you still want to try to do that, so don't look down at yourself, don't look at them. I know it's like polite to look at them, but they don't think you're looking at them, if that makes sense. They think you're looking off, so try to just look straight at the camera, because that feels more personal. And trust me, it's really hard because I want to like see how the interviewer is responding. I want to see what I look like while I'm talking, but I don't. So that's a big tip, and something that I heard quite a few people like complaining about or commenting about, is that not enough of us were doing that. So I tried to do that. Only during my interview, when we had like the presentations and things like that, I would just watch the presentation, obviously, because I don't think they're like watching you closely to see where you're staring at that point. So I would kind of look down and see the presentation and focus on that. And same when we were in like big groups, I would look around at other applicants and other people, and then when I'd answer a question, I'd look at the camera again. So that's kind of my advice about that. It was really interesting doing it over Zoom. I honestly enjoyed it myself just because I am more of an introverted person, so it was really fun being at home in my room where I feel really comfortable and just zooming, and it felt like making YouTube videos for me, so it was very comforting. I think it's really helpful that I have been making videos and I have been talking to myself and practicing talking to myself, because it felt really natural interviewing over video. I know it was a lot harder for some people, but I honestly really enjoyed it, and I felt like I could really just be myself. I was nervous, but I don't think I was as nervous as I would have been if I was in person with someone, and yeah, it was definitely more comforting. It was interesting. I guess I'll talk about like the interview setup now. So most programs would start with a presentation in the morning, and then you'd go into interviews, or you would start with interviews first and then go into the presentation after. So it kind of depended on what group you were in. If you're in group 1, which did interviews first, or group 2, which did a presentation first. Some of them just did presentation for everyone, then interviews for everyone. I think the most people I interviewed with at once was either 9 or 10 for a day. There was also like smaller ones where it was just 4 people, so it's just like varied with the sizes of the interviews. They all like went really smoothly. Everyone in one way or another broke up into breakout rooms with their one-on-one interview. Sometimes there was 2-on-1s, and yeah, I thought it went really well. There was, of course, technical difficulties as expected. I lost Wi-Fi a few times, which was really awkward, and you know, before I missed almost 15 minutes of one of my interviews because I could not connect to Wi-Fi, and our Wi-Fi was down like in the entire apartment complex, so that was kind of scary. And there have been times where I did just lose Wi-Fi in the middle of it, like a presentation, I got kicked out and I just signed back in, and things like that happen. And it's terrifying and it sucks, but it happens to all of us, so if it happens to you, don't worry about it. And yeah, I don't know, I guess that's kind of like my advice and what to expect with that. A really important thing I definitely recommend to everyone is the day before, I think you guys should go over the program's website, look through their curriculum, look through their like mission statement about me, look through their various residents, and whatever else is on the website, just look through it all. Some of the programs made like specific websites just for the applicants to look through and prepare for. I really think it's important that you look through everything, you see how you fit in, and what you like really like about the program. And during your interview, they're gonna ask you like, well, why this program? And it's really important for you to like tell them like why you applied. Obviously when we were applying, we already looked through all of this and like we applied for a reason, but we might have forgotten when we got to our interview. So I think it's very important to talk about like why you applied, why this program, like what you like about it, what's different from other programs. I think it's important to like jot down a couple bullet points. I had this notebook the whole time, and I would just jot down like things about the program. I'd also jot down things about my interviewers. If I was gonna interview with people and they told me their names, I would look them up and write some stuff about them too. And then I would also keep this notebook during my interview, and I'd write more notes during the interview about like specific things I really liked about the program and that I learned about the program, so that later when I was making my rank list, I could look through this and remember. So that's what I recommend, is having a little notebook where you can jot down all that stuff. And yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything. I personally wore slacks or like professional leggings during my interviews. I just was really nervous about not having bottoms on. Like, no, I didn't wear PJs or sweats or anything like that. That was just me. I wear a nice blouse and a nice shirt underneath, and that's mostly all they can see is your shirt and your blouse, and then obviously do your hair and your makeup nicely, and just look professional and smile. Some people wear shorts, some people wear sweatpants. It's up to you. I was just like, what if they ask me and I don't want to look like that person? Or what if I forget my camera on when I'm going to the bathroom? They're like, oh my gosh, look. Because like, obviously sometimes you're going to be moving around and going back and forth. This is the room that I interviewed in. And you do have it, you can turn off your videos during breaks, and should turn off your videos during breaks, especially if they tell you to, just so you can like do your own thing. Always double check and make sure your video's off and your microphone's muted before you go out and talk to people or go to the bathroom. I think that's really important too, to remember that. These are like tips and tricks I learned being on Zoom. It's like different things that you think about compared to a real life interview. I think it's very important to go to the socials the night before, the night of, or whenever they have them. I think it shows that you're really interested in the program. I think they notice it themselves. And it's important just to get to know the residents on a more like one-on-one level and just like chill and hang out. Some of them did game nights and it was really like fun, and I got to like experience like, hey, do I fit in with this culture? Are these people for me? Or no, they're not for me. I don't really fit in. So I think it's very important that you go, because this is like the only way that you know if this program is for you. You're not able to go see it in person. You aren't able to meet everyone in person. So I think it was very important to go to those socials, get to know the residents on a more personal level, ask them the dirty details about the program if you wanted to. But yeah, I definitely recommend that, and I think that they care about that too. I think that's it. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Corey and I are now awaiting to see where we match, and hopefully we match. We have 2 weeks from the day we find out where we end up, and then Monday of that week we find out if we match, period. So Monday is a big deal because I at least know that the match worked for me and Corey, and hoping for the best. And then Friday we find out like where, and I don't know, it's just been like crazy that this is it. We submitted our rank list. I can also make a video more about couples matching. I think we might have been a little bit crazy with how we did it, but I'll let you, yeah, I don't know, we did it the way that we thought fit us best. Hopefully it works out. So I guess I'll let you guys know. I plan on making a video on match day and bring you guys along to see what it's like. Our school is having a little bit of an in-person celebration, and we're allowed to bring one guest. So Corey and I are going to sit together at a table. I'm going to bring my sister, and then our family is going to be at home, probably zooming in, and then we're going to go afterwards and celebrate with them. But yeah, that's the plan. I'm really excited. I can't believe that we're already at the time where we find out. Time has been flying. It's crazy. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching.